Yes, iceberg lettuce is a nutrient-dense food. And I love the comments that say, thank you, iceberg lettuce is my favorite, and now I don't have to feel guilty eating it. Exactly the point. And for those of you who just can't wrap your head around iceberg lettuce being nutrient-dense, first of all, other leafy vegetables are more nutrient-dense than iceberg. So if you prefer romaine lettuce or spinach or kale, you are getting more nutrients per calorie than if you ate iceberg lettuce. So you can feel good about that. But second, let me have another crack at explaining nutrient density. Think of nutrient density as how much the opposite of empty calories a food is. And instead of going by gut feeling, let's apply math to this evaluation. There's a dozen or so different ways of calculating nutrient density, none of which have been adopted by any agency or institution. I developed a nutrient density calculation, which I call the Nutrivore Score, because my brand is Nutrivore, and that rhymes with score. By the way, Nutrivore is just the goal of getting all of the nutrients our bodies need from the foods we eat without engaging in restrictive diet mindset. And if that sounds good to you, we should be friends. Follow me. And I want to emphasize, even though we're talking about the Nutrivore Score in this video, that is not the only piece of information we want to be considering when we're making food choice. Okay, we're clear? The Nutrivore Score is algorithmically identical to the Nutrient-Rich Food Index, the nutrient density calculation that has the most scientific studies using. The difference is that instead of using 9 or 15 nutrients in the calculation, I use 33. Every nutrient that I have enough data that it makes sense to include. Instead of cherry picking which nutrients to include in the math so that the results align with preconceived notions of what a healthy diet looks like. Okay, so we do this math. We crunch the numbers to evaluate how far away from empty calories a food is. When you crunch the numbers, white sugar comes up with a Nutrivore Score of 1. Actually, funnily enough, it's not 0. There are some minute amounts of vitamins and minerals. Extremely little, but technically non-zero. Iceberg lettuce, when you crunch the numbers, you get a Nutrivore Score of 773. Romaine lettuce is like 2,000. Kale is like 4,000. But cucumber's like 400. Celery is very close to iceberg lettuce. It has a Nutrivore Score of 767. Just to give you a sense of the comparisons. And any food with a Nutrivore Score above about 150. The reason why I say about is because this part of the math actually depends on your energy requirements. So the threshold actually goes down the more calories you need. But anyway, you can think of any food with a Nutrivore Score over 150 as a food that contributes more nutrients than calories to your overall diet. So above 150 is whatever the opposite of empty calorie is. Full calorie? Complete calorie? No. But it's also a sliding scale. All foods lie on a spectrum. So maybe we think of it like a gas tank. Empty calories, quarter full calories, half full calories. Okay, put your suggestions for whatever we're gonna call the opposite of empty calories below.